November 1st, 2016. Councilor Longo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Whalen that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on November 1st, 2016 be received and adopted.
Are there any items for discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Minutes of special council meeting held on November 1st, 2016. Councilor Whalen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Ugalini, that the minutes of special council meeting held on November the 1st, 2016 be received and adopted.
Thank you, Councilor. Are there any items for discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And I'll move into my mayor's report. On Wednesday, November 2nd, I was fortunate to attend the Family and Children's Services of Niagara's Celebration of Caring event. This event brought together more than 150 dedicated foster parents and 185 volunteers to assist FACS Niagara every day. Thank you to those who care for our region's most vulnerable children and families. On Thursday, November 3rd, was a significant evening in Thorold. The Junior B Blackhawks unveiled their new team logo prior to the first face-off. On behalf of council, I'd like to thank the entire Blackhawk organization, especially owners Ralph Sacco and Tony Gigliotti, for their commitment to making this change. We wish you success for the remainder of the season. On Saturday, November 5th, I was in Anniversary Gala and fundraising dinner for alcohol recovery in Dignity. Arid Group Homes is a not-for-profit registered charity providing a safe and supportive living environment for people recovering from substance abuse, enabling them to return to the community as healthy and productive citizens. Monday, November 7th, I had the pleasure of attending Thorold Secondary School's Honor Roll banquet at Club Creek. On behalf of council, I would once again like to offer my congratulations to all of the students who have worked hard to achieve this honor. On behalf of council and our entire community, I would like to thank Royal Canadian Legion Branch 17 and the Port Robinson Volunteer Firefighters Association for hosting their annual Remembrance Day parades and ceremonies. It is important that we take the time every year to recognize our veterans and those that still serve our country. Santa Claus Parade is nearly upon us on Saturday, November 26th at 4 p.m. The jolliest man himself will visit Thorold. Volunteers are still needed for the day of the parade to help with set up, carry banners, or marshal traffic. If you are able to, please register to volunteer at thoroldparade.com. Finally, I'd like to take a moment to welcome Manoj Del Waria to our new Director of Development and Engineering Services. We look forward to working with Mr. Del Waria for quite a while. Welcome. Welcome, Manoj. And those are my remarks. And we do not have there are no presentations, and we have 3 delegations. The first delegation is Joey Hewitt and Gordano Mosher, representatives of the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee, JAAC. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, all. I'm Joey Hewitt, as the Mayor has just told you. I'm your representative in Thorold for the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee. And this is Gordana Mosher, that she's also a member of the accessibility community. And she has a little presentation here. If you look up at the screen above the Mayor's head there. Gordana has been instrumental in trying to get a Facebook page started for the JAC because we're trying to get more mainstream media. And so she's put this little thing together. In 2001, the province of Ontario mandated the creation of accessibility advisory committees. AACs are required in municipalities with populations of 10,000 or more. In 2001, JACs are legislated to advise and assist municipalities in identifying, removing, and preventing barriers faced by persons with disabilities. There are other accessibility advisory committees in Niagara, but the JAC is the only joint committee. Other municipalities with AAC include City of St. Catharines, Town of Fort Erie, Town of Welland, City of Waltham, City of Niagara Falls, and the Regional Municipality of Niagara. Let us introduce you to JAC. The Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee is a group of 6 municipalities who work together to promote and facilitate accessible communities. JAC includes the Town of Grimsby, Town of Lincoln, Town of West Lincoln, Pelham, City of Thorold, and Niagara-on-the-Lake. What we do, the JAC advises and assists the municipality in promoting and facilitating a barrier-free municipality for citizens of all abilities, universal accessibility, including persons with disability. You've heard the saying, I don't know, Jack. Well, we know Jack. Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee is concerned with all ages and all abilities. What we do, the aim is achieved through the review of municipal policies, programs, and services, and the identification, removal, and prevention of barriers faced by persons with disabilities. Since 2003, JAC has conducted accessibility audits of 89 municipal facilities, including municipal offices, libraries, community centers, parks, pools, arenas, and other recreational facilities. We've reviewed site plans and provided advice for accessibility improvements for over 25 planned municipal projects. We've created a site plan review checklist for internal use by planning staff in assessing accessibility of proposed site plans. We've also created manuals outlining best practices. We provide templates and samples and include sources for appropriate by suppliers.
So we have been busy, and we feel really strong within our communities and the connections that we want to really leverage this opportunity and reach further and share with our community what's new in our community, extending the virtual hand. And we've chose it through Facebook. And what changes we'll be doing, what long-term plans on accessibility, and connecting the world with Facebook, with our page, but also connecting with our communities. With accessibility, we know social media is a unique product, platform, a great tool to use. Why not? 47% of internet users do have Facebook pages. That is a whole lot of likes. Actually, 4.5 billion likes to make that worldwide. We just want to touch in our communities first and get you all to like us. We want to embrace this new platform, so we just started with Facebook. We haven't started tweeting just yet, but we may get there. We want to share the news, spread the news, increase the awareness, build our audience, create that online community engagement, which is key. Tell everyone what we're doing in our community about accessibility. Share, be our followers, be those influencers. Accessibility is all around us, whether it's in our families, in our communities. It's important that we all are aware and share. Like I said, it's all about liking. At 4.5 billion worldwide likers, we want to get a few likes on ours. So we have created our page. Don't forget to like us, help share our news, create awareness in all our communities, bringing us all together. And here is our page, very simple. We already created a page, starting with a small amount of likes, and you can follow us at JAAC Niagara. There we have photos, we present content as well, not only from our communities, from other places as well, worldwide, that we may benefit, share, again, creating engagement, and including influencers as well. One more thing, as far as we're taking on the Facebook platform, we've all heard about hashtags. Well, before we tweet, we're going to continue on with this. So like our page, include hashtag JAAC Niagara. It helps It will help us with our campaign and reach further on a social media platform. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies, for that presentation. Councilors, are there any questions for our presenters? Seeing none, thank you again.
Thank you.
Our next delegate is Joe Nethery, consultant, MMM Group. And he's going to talk to us about our comprehensive zoning bylaw update. Welcome, Mr. Nethery. Did I pronounce that properly?
Very well, Your Worship. Thank you very much, and good evening to you and members of council. Thrilled and excited to be here before you tonight to welcome you to the greatest planning adventure of the next year that we will all be enjoying together, and that is the preparation of a new comprehensive zoning bylaw for the city. I'm joined tonight by my colleagues Bobby Gauthier, who will be the senior planner who's working on the file, and Yasmin Afshar, who is helping out at our event this afternoon, the Project Launch Open House. So very quickly, I plan on taking council tonight through a quick overview of the project, what it is that we're doing, why it is that we're doing it, some of the preliminary issues that we have found thus far, a quick update on our project timeline, and including with how residents can participate and what our next steps are on the project. I note that I believe this is in your agenda package as well, in a handy take-home format. The purpose of this project is very simple. We are developing a new comprehensive zoning bylaw for the city. To speak in technical speak, we'll be repealing the current zoning bylaw and replacing it with a newer document. The key purpose of going this route is to make sure that the zoning bylaw implements and conforms to your new official plan that came into effect earlier this year. That official plan has created some new policies, some new visions that govern growth and managing change within the city. And the zoning bylaw needs to be aligned with that in a manner that makes sure that your vision, that this community's vision, is being implemented and administered appropriately. Very simply, zoning bylaw can be described as a rule book. The Planning Act is the provincial legislation that enables a municipality to have this document, and it sets out the various purposes and things that a zoning bylaw can do. Basically, what you can and can't do with your property, how you use it, the placement of buildings and structures on a property, types of buildings that are permitted and associated uses, all sorts of site design and site layout matters, including lot dimensioning and parking requirements, and very critically, items such zone standards such as building heights and setbacks from streets. I hit up instead of down. There we go. That rule book is a legal document. You are in fact writing legislation through this process. That's legislation that your staff implements and administers on a daily basis going forward for the next number of years. What it fundamentally does is it carves up the city and places lands into one of any number of zones within which you're allowed to do certain uses. A residential zone may permit detached dwellings, require a certain depth of front yard, side yard, rear yard. An environmental zone may limit you to birds and trees and frogs only, or somewhere in between on that particular spectrum. That is enforced principally when a landowner comes in looking for a building permit in order to erect a new dwelling, to put an addition on a current dwelling, maybe to to put an addition onto a current building, to knock down a current building and replace it with something else. It's also used for enforcement matters, in case somebody happens to be running a warehouse out of their semi-detached dwelling. The zoning bylaw is where your enforcement officers may be going looking for that information. As much as a zoning bylaw is a book, there's a beginning, an end, sometimes there's even an epilogue. It really more functions as a system of information to find out what the rules are actually on your property. We see zoning bylaws typically structured with an administrative section up front, some establishment clauses that set out how to read the thing and what certain symbols mean. And then it gets into the guts, definitions, general provisions that apply to things such as accessory buildings townwide, or outside display and sales. Following that, we usually find the breakout of zones themselves. In the current Thorold zoning bylaw, there's about 40 tabs, individual tabs that are dedicated to this today. There are also site-specific and various technical provisions, for that one property that had the one additional use added, probably through a development process that found its way through here with the council approval. The chief elements in a zoning bylaw are the maps. It's the first place that people usually go to find out what zone actually does apply to their land, and how we go about determining the information that we need to make relevant decisions about how we use our properties. So the current zoning bylaw itself, prepared in 1997, in a world where zoning bylaws were intended to last about 20 years, it's coming up on its best before date. There's an opportunity and a need, well, let me start with the need to implement various provincial and regional policies. There's been no shortage of provincial planning reforms that the city is very, very familiar with. The region's official plan is now finished. The city's new official plan is now finished. The next stage in the policy planning framework is updating that zoning bylaw. But there's also an opportunity, now that it is 2016, to incorporate all sorts of little modernizations, little improvements to help improve the user-friendliness of this document, to both shorten the length of this document, to make it more broadly available in a wide range of formats. And of course, over the next 9 months or so, we're going to be hearing from yourselves, from members of the public, perhaps even from the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee, with respect to various issues that they need to see addressed in this project. And it's actually a good point to follow up on the presentation that serendipitously preceded mine. The AODA is more than just making sure the buildings flow correctly, that various improvements are made to our reports and our writing styles and our websites to make sure information is findable. But within the AODA Act itself, there are zoning expectations as well. This chiefly orients around parking spaces and how parking lots are laid out. So that is one particular AODA improvement that will be incorporated into this new bylaw. The official plan itself is broken out into a range of designations, a range of secondary plans. Each contains very specific definitive policies and permissions to those individual lands. They're contained over a series of maps. It's a nice document to read through and implement. What we find when we do a cursory read through of that, and you will see our background report in considerable detail of what a cursory review actually looks like in your agenda packages, that we do find a number of conformity issues that immediately arise. Matters such as making sure that our boundaries are synced up with the Niagara Escarpment Commission's expectations, making sure that agricultural and rural zones meet the new city, provincial, regional, and city expectations with respect to use of land. Ensuring that the zoning in downtown reflects the new vision for intensification and new built forms that are envisioned in this area. Making sure that the environmental lands and the new environmental framework as they exist in the official plan are accurately reflected in zoning as well. And ensuring that the various targets and expectations for greenfield development are captured with zoning that may not be immediately applied to future lands, but at least demonstrates and shows to developers and future developers what the city's expectations are with respect to what form that future development takes. Getting out of the planner speak, there's an opportunity to look at the structure of the document itself, how it reads, how the information is portrayed. Can we make it shorter? Can we make it easier to read? Can we insert things such as graphics to clarify certain regulations or definitions? This is the opportunity to explore those sorts of improvements. We'll be looking at site-specific exceptions themselves to see what requires being carried forward. We'll be preparing new mapping as a part of this project that, while the GIS strategy and how the mapping will be displayed is a matter that is continuing to evolve as this project, it's going to be prepared in a format that will make sure that the data gets implemented exactly how that study rolls out. There's also a need to make sure that current studies that are underway are respected and reflected in this, in the new zoning bylaw itself. So as much as there are separate policy projects that have been going on, if there is a question about those tonight, I may be counting on my colleagues here at the city to answer those particular questions. So where we are today, we're at that arrow. This evening, a number of people managed to come through our open house, give us some preliminary feedback, and help start developing our project mailing list to ensure that people remain informed of the project itself. We've been working away for a little over 3 months now on that background report / discussion paper. It is now in your agenda. It is in your agenda package, and it is now public for the first time. As much as we are receiving comments on that, we are also working away on first drafts of the bylaw itself. That December date that you see on screen is an internal deadline. That's when we will be delivering to staff to have those initial consultations. You will see us again early in the new year with public consultation in the winter, January, February. That round of consultation will feature open houses throughout the city. We're planning on 5 of them right now in order to go out to your individual communities, to your individual neighborhoods, and to hear from them directly. Get a bunch of feedback, we consider it, we review it, everything gets read. We then come back with another draft of the bylaw in the middle of the spring for the statutory public meeting. It's exactly like every other statutory public meeting that you hear on a zoning bylaw amendment, except every property, not just one. The final draft of the bylaw gets prepared based on the feedback and input received at that meeting, and we hope to be back with that before summer. So the question we often get at these initial encounters with council is how can people participate? I talked about our public outreach events. There is a significant effort that we are hoping to make to an online component of this presentation, or of this project. And that is the new website, zonethorold.ca. So we have launched a project website which includes interactive mapping and a comment form. And I might roll the dice and click on this link and see if I can walk you through it. I'm going to allow. The mapping, so the website itself is designed to work in a range of browsers at a range of bandwidth speeds in order to be usable by as broad a range of people as possible. Once this mapping does come up and we get through the overview page, which very briefly describes what it is that we're doing and how you can contact, you are taken to the interactive mapping itself. We're going to be rolling out a couple of additional search functionalities over the next couple of weeks. Basically, you can zoom into any property in the city, you can click on it, and you will be taken to well, this property doesn't happen to have an address, others do. We saw a number of them today. You'll be told where you are in terms of the official plan designation itself. I've happened to click on a property that's specialty agriculture under the Greenbelt plan. And if there's something we need to know about it, you can click on the link and you can tell us what you think about it, what we need to know. The zoning is great. Do we have any comments on the permitted uses? Give me lots. When that comment eventually gets submitted, an email is received by both the project team and by city staff to let us know it was received. And then we do have a database that we will be referring to throughout this project to make sure those comments are addressed. Project status updates will be available through the What's New tab. There's not much there because we're pretty good with this. The resource documents themselves will be an archive of various project reports and studies in the current zoning itself. And if people do want to have their say, we have another option to do that as well, including a comment form as well. And I survived the live showing of the website. I'll conclude at this point by thanking you for your time and attention tonight, and if there are any questions, I and the team are happy to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. I always find planning very, very exciting stuff. Okay, are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you. See you early next year.
For sure. Okay, our next presenter is Lauren Kraus, Chair of the Historic Thorold Santa Claus Parade. And she wants to request some money.
I do. Thank you, Mayor Luciani and Council, for your time. I'm here on behalf of the Thorold Santa Claus Parade Committee, Historic Thorold Santa Claus Parade Committee. We are requesting $1,500 in addition to cover the shortfalls in our expenses from this current year. Without the additional financial support, we will be losing significant portions of our parade. So we are requesting your consideration in this matter.
You're done.
I'm
Presentation.
done, guys.
Thank you for being so clear.
I tried, short and sweet.
Are there any questions of our presenter? Councilor Green.
Through you, Mr. Mayor and Ward, first of all, thank you for coming to council tonight, and I'll be bringing a motion up under other business to address that. The question I have is, how are you making out for volunteers on the actual parade day?
Volunteers are always welcome. That's right, friends volunteers.
So you need more.
Volunteers are always welcome. You can always use more volunteers the day of for sure. Participants are basically fulfilled. Sponsorship, we're still trying to get some more money, but we do know that the year does come to an end, which is what we're running into problems with.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Councilor Whalen.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, all the committees here, I just want to compliment them on the great job they did this year. They picked up mid-year, and who would have thought they'd get this far, so they've done a great job, so great work. Look forward to 26.
Thank you.
Question, Councilor? No questions?
It's more comment.
Any other? Are there any other questions? Seeing none? Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, that concludes our delegation portion of our agenda. We're to communications and resolutions. Items referred to council. Councilor Hanley.
Mr. Mayor, moved by myself, second by Councilor Longo, the communications list of correspondence 5B be received and directed to the indicated staff members.
Are there any items for discussion? Councilor Hughes.
Two things, Mr. Mayor. Item number 3, the Niagara Cricket Club. Can we get a staff report on that item? There's a request there that we waive the fees for, but can we get a staff report regarding that? Do I need a motion for that?
No,
to refer to.
The motion for staff report.
Okay.
This is referred already to.
And the historic Santa Claus parade we'll bring up under other business.
It already has been referred to. The Director of Development Engineering.
Yeah.
Report. Are there any other items to be pulled? Seeing none, no. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Carried. Reports, correspondence from the region of Niagara. Councilor Ugolini.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Whalen, that the communications on the list of correspondence 5E, reports correspondence from the region of Niagara be received for information purposes and fun.
Even now, are there any items for discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Items for information purposes. Councilor Piano.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Longo, that the communications on the list of correspondence 5F be received for information purposes and filed.
Items for discussion. Favor? Opposed? That's carried. Here's the reports. Minutes of the General Committee meeting held on November 1st, 2016. Councilor Longo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Ugolini that the minutes of the General Committee meeting held on November 1st, 2016 be received and adopted.
Items for discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Other business? Councilor Ewing, Councilor Handley. That's it. Councilor Ewing.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, numerous items, and I gotta take some of Jim's time tonight. I'll start off with a motion moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Whalen, that we provide the additional $1,500 to make up the shortfall in expenses for the historic Thorold Santa Claus Parade. So that's item one.
Okay.
Can we add that it be funded through the community game?
Okay, discussions to the motion. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried.
Continuing on. TA hosted the Beaverlock tournament this past weekend, and it was a great success with teams from as far away as the Windsor area, Collingwood area, not only competing in the tournament, but spending money on local businesses. And on Friday in Thorold, every restaurant was full, the arena was full, the Legion was jam-packed for their concert they ran, and the Thorold Community Theater was packed, so it was a great night in Thorold. The Royal Canadian Legion Branch 17 President Eric Cuthbert asked me to pass along a special thank you to city staff from the Cemetery and Parks Department for their outstanding work in having Memorial Park in tip-top shape for the 2 Remembrance Day ceremonies held there. This was especially challenging on Friday, November 11th due to the high winds, but a great job done, and pass that along, please. Thank you. Okay, the other item I have is we've applied for a grant. We had a discussion, we talked about the arena boards glass being a priority, and we applied for a grant. Part of that grant, if we get it, is that project has to be completed in 2017. My concern is that we're not starting budget until the new year. This arena project needs to move forward because of the planning, the engineering, whatever needs to be done, because for the project to start, when the ice comes out at the end of March and ice back in for August, we're under serious time constraints. So I bring this forward tonight, and I don't exactly know, like, I'd like to get pre-budget approval for this item, but because we got no other choice. If that's our priority that we stated and we applied for a grant, if we don't get this project ready to go, we're in big trouble. So where do we start, I guess is my question. If I can get some direction.
Sure. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I would suggest that, well, budget, we're very close to getting the numbers together, getting a report to council. It'll likely be the end of December before, well, mid-December before we get the reports out to council for consideration, and probably first or second week of January we'll start the process. But in light of the request here, I think what we can do is start the process of preparing an RFP and getting ready so that if and when this project is approved during the budgetary process, it'll be ready to go, and just the project will be, the RFP process will be completed, tenders will be up, and we'll get then hopefully sometime in the new year, then we can start the process. But that's really the what I would suggest we do at this point. There's no commitment to getting it done in case council decides not to move forward with the council with the project. But at least you put your hand up and looked at getting some budgets or some costing to understand what the costing might be for this total project we're looking to do. So I would suggest we start with the RFP process or a tender project to move it along and get our engineering department to start moving that forward.
Can I make that motion then? That we move forward with the RFP process?
You need a second.
And a second is Councillor Hanlon.
Discussion to the motion, Councilor Dion.
Yeah, just a question, clarification for the process. If we're going up for an RFP, that presumes that we have approved the project, doesn't it? We can still, if we get, okay, that's all I'm clarifying.
Our documentation allows us to cancel any of these projects at any time, or at least during the RFP process, or if we find that we don't want to do it in 2017, documentation is the language we have in the RFP process allows us to stop that process. So
Okay. I was just clarifying because I know sometimes
Yeah.
it may be presumed that we approve it. I think it's a good project. I just wanted to clarify the timing and the timeline. Thank you.
Are there any other speakers? I'll just make a few comments. This is going to be an arduous job. It's a project. It's going to require us to remove the boards. We're breaking up the floor and replacing all the piping. Am I right, Randy? It's not just the boards.
That's correct.
It's taking out all the concrete, removing the concrete, replacing with underneath the concrete, in the concrete, and again, replacing all of that.
That's correct. Yes, it's a major project that we have to be ready to hit the ground running as soon as the ice is out at the end of March.
Will the project also include demountable glass around, or will it be permanent like we have now?
That wasn't, to you, Mr. Mayor, that wasn't discussed. It's something that we could look into. It could be an option, but right now staff has not considered that option.
Look, then I'll put that motion forward, Councilor.
Yeah, as part of that motion, but again, with removable glass would be only necessary on both sides, not at the ends, because we don't have viewing from the end. So if we could make part of that process removable glass on both sides. So then we would be able to use it for most other events other than hockey. Yeah.
Councilor Whalen.
Mr. Mayor, question to you, Frank. Frank, how much of an aggressive tendering reply would we get when these people know they might not get the job?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, respectfully, all our RFP documents has that language in it. It allows us to walk away if we have to. Most RFP documentation has that in it, so it's not something that's new. It is a general.
It just won't be a deterrent to whoever's putting the bids in if they know they might not
No,
get the job.
it's a pretty normal practice.
That's great, thank you.
Okay, are you done? Councilor Egan?
I am.
Thank you. Councilor Hanley.
Thank you,
We have to vote.
on it.
Also, yes, on this motion.
I'll call a question on that. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried.
Mr. Mayor, my item is just in regards to the upcoming AMO conference in 2017. Only because that we had received an email from Ginger back on September 20th, 2016, and asking all councilors to respond by September the 30th. And I'm wanting to know which councilors may be attending the conference, so that I may have who's going and who's not going, may I ask? I'm only asking that is that no decisions are made of what councilors are going to attend the conference, but yet we were sent an email back in September asking that all councilors submit no request to the conference no later than September 30th, so that rooms can be booked. So I'm thinking that some people are already.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there hasn't been any definite councils that will be going. I think traditionally what we've done in the past is councilors that had attended past AMO conferences, and we do on a rotational basis. So those that have attended, typically will not go to the next one. We give an opportunity for those that do want to go to the next AMO conference. So as an example, we have not been, you didn't go to the last one, so I believe that other councilors have not attended as well, so they will have the first crack at going to the AMO conference. If no one else wants to attend, if someone doesn't have the desire to go, then those to attend will be in attendance, will attend.
Okay, I only asked because I did submit, only myself and Councilor Ugolini had actually submitted that we were interested in going. The only reason I'm asking is that in case that I'm not an individual that is going, in the past I've had to pay for myself, I'm willing to do it again. So if I need to put a motion forward here today, because the last time I had to get a deduct period of time, and seeing that it's going to be very busy in the year 150, I'm wanting to cover my butt because I'm planning a family vacation around the same time.
Through Mr. Mayor, if I may, the only reason why we did that is they changed the policy this year. They wanted to understand who will be attending AMO and book their rooms in advance. Typically, it's done in February. Because it's such a turnout you've had in the past, they asked to do it in October, as requested, and it's been done. So we booked 4 rooms. The mayor, the CEO, and 2 other councilors. So those councilors, in fact, the makeup of who will be attending is based on council's past attendance. So those that will not be in attendance,
Okay.
those that have not attended, have the first crack.
So not to go on, but the last AMO conference, 2 councils attended, so there's 6 of us left.
That's correct.
So for example, out of those 6 that are left, how will we decide if 4 out of those 6 that are left wanted to go? All I'm saying is that I know you've already booked rooms, but we need to make that decision because of those councils that's going to go. As in the past where I've paid for myself because council did not want to support me to go, I want to know that so I can start deducting the monies from the monies that I make as a council, as I did at that time. If council remembers, instead of me paying $1,200 at once, I'm stating today that I want to go to the AMO conference, and I think as a council we need to decide. I don't want to leave it to the... We were notified here that how important it is because it's the 150th anniversary, not to drag on, but I want to attend. So I want that decision to be made expediently, myself personally, so I need to know whether or not I need to do alternative items myself so that I can attend the conference, be it as a city councilor or as a citizen of the city of Thorold.
Comes to worse, you have my spot.
Well, worst comes to worst, I had to pay before it, Ted.
Yes.
So that's what I'm asking. So if I have to pay again, I'm willing to do
You
so.
will have to pay.
Okay? That's what my concern is.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, Councilor Henry, believe that you're one of the individuals that is on the list, the primary list of attending.
That's all I ask. Because if I know that I'm going, I'm only asking. It's an issue that last time I had to pay months in advance to assure my spot. So I'm just assuring that. Thank you very much.
Councilor Keelan?
I'm good.
You're good? Okay. Is there anybody else under other business? Seeing none, we'll continue into bylaws. Bylaw number 138-2016. Councilor Whalen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, second by Councilor Ugolini. I need to be given introduced to the following bylaws. Bylaw number 138-2016, the bylaw to establish certain offices for the purposes of the city, corporation of the city of Thorold, and to appoint persons to hold such offices. Bylaw number 140-2016, the bylaw to amend bylaw number 150-2012, being a bylaw to regulate parking and traffic in the city of Thorold. And now this be read the first time.
All those in favor? That's carried.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, second by Councilor Ugolini, that the bylaw I just read a first time, be read a second and third time, and do pass. And now that the mayor and the clerk do sign and seal the same, any rule to the council to the contrary notwithstanding.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Notice of motion. Are there any notices of motion? Seeing none, I'll move to adjournment. Councilor Hamlin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, second by Councilor Longo, that this meeting is hereby adjourned at
4:35.
Sorry. Mr. Mayor, do I need to put a special motion forward that we go over budget for 2 double D batteries? No. That's it.
Okay, that concludes the council meeting. We're, with council's permission, I'll move right into general committee, or would you like to break?
No.
No, continue. Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and first on the agenda or when they conflicts of interest? Seeing none, I'll move on. We have no delegations and nothing in the administration section. We'll move right into the finance section. DFO 2016-39, accounts payable for October 2016.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The recommendation is that all accounts payable for the month of October in the amount of $2,398,356.81 be received and submitted to council for approval. And this concludes your report.
Thank you, Ms. Morrow. Take a move for the report. Councilor Ewing.
So move the report.
Speakers to the report. Seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor? Opposed? EF 2016-40, budget reallocation for purchase of web security gateway.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The recommendation of the report are that a funding shortfall of $3,864.55 be recognized to cover the costs for replacement of the city's internet web security gateway with a 3-year support and maintenance agreement. This shortfall will be funded from the reallocation of funds in the capital project for internet connection upgrade public works. This concludes the report.
Thank you. Take a move for the report. Councilor Whalen.
So move the report.
Speakers to the report. Seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Move right into the operations section. DO 16-74, alterations and upgrades to the Thorold Arena complex. And Randy, review will introduce the gentleman.
Yes, I'd like to introduce Mr. John Giddings to my right. He's the project manager for the arena project. He's with JDG Project Management. So John will be heading up the arena project. We'll start shortly. I'd like to present the report. The recommendation is that the tender for the Thorold Arena Complex renovations general be awarded to Dual Max Construction at a cost of $429,000, and that the tender for the Thorold Arena Complex renovations mechanical be awarded to Simcoe Refrigeration at a cost of $131,596. The Thorold Arena Complex renovations acoustic panels be awarded to Ford Acoustics at a cost of $159,780, and that an internal contingency of 5% of construction costs be maintained to address any unforeseen site conditions or needs that may arise during construction, and that the mayor and clerk be directed to sign all documents required to execute the necessary agreement. And that concludes the report.
Thank you, Mr. Reba. Can I get a mover for the report? Councilor Hanley.
So move the report, Mr. Mayor, very gladly.
Speakers to the report. Councilor Whalen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't know whether John or Randy can answer a question now. Where we sit as far as the lobby and washrooms dug up around the Christmas tournament? Around that? So it'd be a big decision by the tenant. So.
Yeah, I don't think there's gonna be too much problem with that. There's the washroom, there's 2 sets of washrooms there, and the idea would be to renovate one set while the other one is being used. So it makes the lines might be slightly longer for the month or so that it takes to do that, but overall it's an insurmountable problem.
So with the capacity, number of teams and players and fans coming in, will we just service it with one set of washrooms?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I would like to mention that we are going to work with the arena supervisor to ensure that the construction is not going to be going on while tournaments are going on.
That's very appreciated. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Did we not say we're going to spend $1 million on this project? And I only see, approximately $700,000.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the total costs right now are about $905,000. That's with the 5% contingency. We have previous to this that wasn't included in the contract. There are some funds available. We're currently looking at some electrical work. We're doing an electrical assessment on the transformer, and those funds may be used to carry out that work. But we don't have that report yet, the assessment for the transformer.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? I will call the motion. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We're to develop DES 2016-01, comprehensive zoning bylaw update discussion paper.
Yeah. Through you, Mr. Mayor, the recommendation is the attached executive summary and discussion paper for the comprehensive zoning bylaw we received for information purposes.
Thank you, Mr. Delawaria. Take a vote for the recommendation. Councilor Longo.
So move the report.
Speakers to the report. Seeing none, I call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. The third section, CC 2016-54, appointment of member representatives to the Downtown Facade Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The recommendation is that Craig Finlay be appointed to the Heritage Store Downtown Facade Committee, and that includes the recommendation.
Thank you, Nancy. Take a mover for the report. Councilor Pion.
So moved.
Speakers to the report. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We do not have anything in the fire selection. The general committee will now move into closed session. In closed session, council will reconvene into open session to hold a special council meeting to ratify all of the reports approved tonight by the general committee and consider the following bylaw. Bylaw 149-2016. Can I have a motion to move into closed session to discuss one, local 151 negotiations?